The Wind River country offers a wealth of fly fishing opportunities, and one of my favorites is the East Fork of the Wind River, particularly on the upper end at the base of the Absarokas. And there is no better time to visit the basin than the fall, when the mornings are crisp and the afternoons are warm and comfortable, and the aspens, willows, and cottonwoods sport their brilliant red and golden colors. Forsaking my usual tent and sleeping bag, my wife and I stayed in a log cabin on the Bitterroot Ranch, which hosts 30 guests each week for horseback trail rides. But there are a few like me who prefer to fish the stream, which bisects the ranch. Bayard Fox, the patriarch of the East Fork Basin, established the ranch in 1971 after a career as a spy in the CIA. Now 94, he greets guests on the front deck of the lodge in his warm and breezy style, accompanied by his faithful yellow lab Mango. 3 years ago, I had the privilege of fishing with Bayard on the upper East Fork near the wilderness boundary. We caught a few fish, shared a lot of stories, and returned with a creel of memories. Recent rains had discolored the stream, so fishing was out of the question. So my wife and I saddled up for a trail ride, which took us through stands of aspen, across feeder streams, under the foothills of the Absarokas. On two of the rides, we visited the remains of a cabin allegedly occupied by the turn-of-the-century outlaw Butch Cassidy, and there is pretty strong anecdotal evidence to support this claim. And also, there's remains of a cabin which once sheltered a woman who became known as the Sheep Queen of Wyoming. Yellowstone cutthroats have a reputation for being easy to catch, especially on dry flies. This was the case in previous years when I fished this stream. But this year was different. The fish were uncooperative. No noses poked through the surface, not even a dimple or a splash. I was throwing a 2-weight rod, armed with the standard fare of attractor dries and nymph droppers. No hatches could be observed, and although the grass sported a good population of hoppers, the fish refused to take any of my imitations. The only fish I was able to finally hook and land that day was when I embraced the dark side and tied on a Perdigon nymph. The next morning, after breakfast, the ranch told me a crew with the new Fly Fisher TV show was due to arrive. I introduced myself, and this old fly fisher was invited to accompany host Mark Melnick and cameraman Brett Kopitz for an afternoon on the stream. We hiked and waded and made our way upstream, hitting all the fish-holding pools as the water crashed through the rocks. Eventually we reached the mouth of a canyon called the Gorge. Mark caught several that afternoon, including the one that I caught on film. I believe he caught it on a brown Drake Dunn imitation. It's the middle of October here in east central Wyoming. There's snow outside, so I'm taking the opportunity to spin some LPs on the turntable and replace some of the flies got chewed up or lost during the past season's fishing. I'd encourage everyone watching this to look for the new episode of The New Fly Fisher, in which Mark Melnick and company showcase many of the streams in the Wind River country.